So observe how it has not. I think I talked about that. Never mind that one. Then this I talked about. This is what I talked about in the playlist, striped collar playlist, where I opened it up alongside that one, which was the super glossy 1980s one. All the stamps are gone now. It came with a broken buttonhole, but yesterday she repaired it. And I have not restarched it yet. I wore it for a month, then I washed it, then I restarched it and showed it in the playlist reproduction undershirt from the Soviet Union when it was restarched, and I then wore it again a month, and then I washed it, and she repaired it yesterday. Then this is something I made when I was probably 10 or 9 years old. I cut off the leaf from a modern shirt I had back then, so this is a very small size, and I made all the sewing myself, which is very bad. And it has a, the buttonholes are awfully sore. I did wear it, and then I made that one a little bit later, so I must have been 11 when I made that one. I actually snipped off the entire collar from the shirt, and then I made a bosom from that shirt flower, but it had my bosom, and then I cut off the cuffs and used the cuffs, but all of these are in front. The colors here, they're also a small size, but a little bit less small. And I did starch it. I forgot how. Probably I asked someone to do it, or it is fused. Probably it was starched by, either it was prior to making it. No, probably it had been done by a maid. Probably. Yes. Or back in the day, yes, with a spray starch. And the buttonholes were reworked later on, much later on, about perhaps 5 years ago, by one of the cleaners. Then I move on to all the paper ones I had done. This I made between the ages of 2 and 10 and 3 and 10. All these papers, when I got back into dressing like I dress now, and then I stopped dressing like that, but I was back addicted to that, and I was not going to school then. I was homeschooled. Well, I was homeschooled between 2 and 10 and 3 and 10. Then I was not homeschooled anymore, but for 1 year I was homeschooled, so I could actually not wear a uniform and dress like that. And in that year I remember I learned so much. This was when I was 2 and 10. I looked like this back then. Also, this was when the photograph was taken. As you may see, I'm wearing an antique top hat. So I can't remember exactly when I did which one, obviously. These two I made later on, but not these. These were made recently, not all these here. And I used some relatively thin paper, see, much thinner, quite thin and flimsy really. And also I was much smaller then. But the job is rather good, and I did wear them. There are some which I must have thrown, but most I kept. And some have gone through more wear than others. All the paper was the same, the exact same paper I had purchased, I forgot from where, perhaps through the hypermarket. And I did a rather good job. Obviously I would cut them just straight, but some genuine ones, like this genuine antique one, is almost completely cut straight. Most of them have a sort of curve because of how the human neck is shaped, you know, whereby it rises higher up there. But as long as they were short, they were kind of completely wearable. And I used to wear them a little bit. It was also the year when I got the so-called celluloid ones, which I thought were genuine celluloid, but which were acetate. But I don't have them here. I have from River Junction. And I talked about that, and I showed the box in the playlist, a linen collar playlist. The last parts of it. But they are all in France. So the first ones I bought, I think I bought it twice. First I bought 3 of them, I think. And then I bought 2 more, 1 more a year later. And then I never bought them again. And actually I learned about 5 years ago that they were acetate. And not celluloid, not genuine celluloid. So then, so see, there are many styles. There are 2 wing ones. Let's go back. Created 2 wing ones. Well, in fact, 3 wing ones. This I also wore it bent, see. And then I turned it up and made a wing out of it. And then it was just too damaged for wear. Then a lot of stand-up ones. Some have, this is very, very big, and I created it. But the buttonhole was made too, well, it is a stand-up one, but it has a sort of gap. then kind of the same with that much smaller one. Here a more traditional standard one, which is essentially the same as the leaning one that I purchased. Very similar. Also the buttonholes will break soon. A very long overlapping imperial one, which is badly made. See, it is not the same size. Sometimes I would reuse snips of paper as a badly made. Let me check. Yes, one side is much higher. This one is better made. Also overlapping imperial, more my size of them, but perhaps even too small. Then I was trying to make a clown one, like the one, because that was when I discovered the Dry Good Collars and Cups website, and that was when I tried imitating. They still says on their website the clown one, which is actually made out of Linux, not linen, and I tried making it, but then I did not cut the buttonholes, so I realized I would never be able to wear that, and it just breaks, so I gave up. That one is better, but it's very high. It very quickly broke because it would hit my chin, so then I probably worked once for a few hours. Then I created that one. As you may see, the buttonhole was cut too close to the edge, and thus it broke probably after just the first wear. And then much later on, never made colors again, but much later on, I used artist paper, and I talked about all these colors. So this is one which is only one ply, but it's still much thicker than the other one. See? Because it is a much thicker paper. And then that one is almost one ply, but not quite. I wore that one anymore in the slot, and it shows because of all the perspiration stains. It is actually brown and disgusting. But see, it overlaps, and then it becomes almost two plies. But this is more like a style, not to make it thicker, but to make it as a style. The style is supposed to be that. So even if it was made out of cloth, it would be like that. But then I made them thicker. I actually made them before, but never mind. Where I made two plies but unglued. Like one ply that was folded but unglued. But then I glued it here. And then that one I showed many times was actually too tight. I made it too tight and too high. But I also glued it. And the style of that is perfect. And back, I put it here because it is scarlet, but this I made back when I was 13, way back. And I showed it in the striped collar playlist, towards the last part, I think part 11. This is an original, extremely rare leaning collar, as part of the leaning collar playlist. So I got recently, probably late 19th century to 1910 max. The reproduction leaning that is talked about in the same playlist that I got in 2009 probably. The other one I got in 2008 is in France. I already talked about that. This is the celluloid color, very rare, probably 1910 to 1930. The Zeolite, which is a forward celluloid, and I wanted to talk about that. I said in, no, first, forget, okay, rewinding this, in the playlist Gangs of New York, in part 24, I talked about how the early, well, not as the first, but until probably 1880, at least for lots of them until 1880, and for virtually all of them until 1870, I would say, most shirts meant to take removable collars actually, worked with studs in the front, but had a button sole in the back. And I did not explain later on, and I was saying yes, because